everybody. I am SigTrent Game Designer, co-creator of Everyday Heroes and Mysterious Methuselah for SigTrent Games. Today I'm going to update you on what's going on with SigTrent Games this week. We're going to offer you some game design advice, and I will talk a little bit about my life and gaming in general. So this is week 25 of SigTrent Games, and what's going on this week? Mostly work on Shotgun Fantasy. The fighter class I have finished. It is all done. It's pretty cool. It's a pretty versatile class, kind of. I don't always have 100% clear vision what I'm going for when I start working on a piece of game rules. I have a general sense, and then I kind of hone in on it as I go. And the fighter, for whatever reason, turned into a very versatile class where you can kind of go for a tanky type character, or a berserker type character, or an agile archer type character, or a lot of things in between that. So it's pretty cool. You get to pick and choose what kind of a fighting warrior you are. You're always going to be focused on arms and armor and that kind of thing. But generally speaking, it can go in a lot of different directions. So I think that's pretty cool, especially when we've only got these 4 core classes. Next up is Rogue, and I finished that as well. My version of Rogue this time turned into a little bit more of an assassination-ish character, just in that the capstone is kind of a hardcore critical hit sneak attack kind of a thing, trying to go for that kind of instant kill. It's not a guaranteed instant kill in this case, but it could be if your enemy is weak enough. So that kind of thing, a little bit defocusing on being a heavy skill character like the Scoundrel is from the core rules. Scoundrel was created to mimic a large part of what being a rogue in D&D was like, but to have a modern feel for it. And so mechanically, it's pretty similar to Rogue. And of course, this is a rogue, but I didn't want it to be mechanically identical to either Dungeons & Dragons or to the Scoundrel from Everyday Heroes, since it's for Everyday Heroes, so I want it to be mechanically different. So it has a lot of things in common. Of course, you got your sneak attack. You do get a lot of different skills that you can work on, but it's a little bit less about totally mastering those skills and a little bit more about being a sneaky, stab them in the dark kind of an assassin character. So see how that goes. A lot more focused than fighter is, but that's good because I want characters that are kind of easy to build and ones that are a little bit more complex to build. And between the non-magical characters, the rogue is actually the more simple, direct character, and the fighter is the slightly more nuanced and complex character. Although both of them are simple compared to casting spells, generally speaking. So I've already finished Wizard and Cleric, and I'm pretty happy with where they're at. I finished up their multiclassing feats, which I hadn't done to date, so I've got those in place. Also did the multiclassing feats for Fighter and Rogue, of course. Rogue was a little bit tricky for various reasons, but we'll get into that later. Religions are finished, so I still need to do the talents for the different religions you can take as a cleric. They're kind of example religions because the idea is you could make your own religions for the game and have different kinds of clerics with different focus. And they usually come with 3 talents, a 1st level talent, a 5th level talent, and a 9th level talent, and then a catalog of spells. So a religion lets a cleric be kind of a focus spellcaster, a very thematic spellcaster, and their talents are pretty powerful. I also finished up the talents for the wizard schools. These were a little harder because in some ways I didn't want the talents to be as defining, because a wizard can learn any spell in the game, almost. They can't automatically learn legendary spells, and they can't automatically learn spells that are specifically divine spells that clerics can cast. But anything else, if they find a scroll, they find a book, they can learn that spell. So they are not limited in their spell list in the way that a cleric is, so their talents need to be a little less directive and a little less powerful. They're still pretty good, and some are more directed than others, let's say. So like the traveling wizard who just wanders around the world and he's part of a guild of traveling wizards. Well, they're by their very nature not particularly specialized, right? So as where a courtly wizard whose job is to be the advisor to a king is going to be a little bit more specific and specialized in their nature. So they do get a spell list, but their spell list are spells that they automatically can get access to as they level up. They don't get them all the way a cleric does, but it's a list that they can always pick new spells from as they level up. Because basically they can go to their college and they can say, hey, I want to check out this scroll so that I can put it in my spell book, and then they can go ahead and do that as just sort of part of their membership in that wizard's organization. But they can also put any other spell they want on those lists. So the lists are less limiting and more just sort of like, well, look, if you're in a game and you level up and you didn't have any access to finding scrolls or anything, you still want to be learning new spells to do new stuff. So Wizards get that. So I got all that wrapped up. The spell list is not 100% complete, so the playtesters will not be getting a 100% complete spell list. You'll especially notice that the colleges and religions don't necessarily have 4th and 5th level spells all the time. That is because almost all the other spells on the list can be ranked up through enhancements to be 4th and 5th level spells. So there's just sort of a lot less need for powerful spells. And whenever I'm going to create a powerful spell, I logically think, is there a less powerful way of that kind of magic to manifest? And if there is, well, it becomes a lower rank spell that you can then add ranks to by enhancing it to become powerful. So it tends to make for sort of a different design space than you might normally see. But seeing how playtesters react to that is one of the things that we need to do. And just me, I'm having a reaction looking at my spell list going, where are the high rank spells? Well, there's a reason they're not there. But I am trying to rack my brain and at least think of a couple things that we can put in there that I can't then reduce down to a less powerful version. See, it's an interesting design challenge I haven't faced before. All right, so that's where things are going. The playtest documents are nearly done, but as I go along, as I often do, I'm like, ooh, I want to put some finishing touches on this. Ooh, I want to tweak this a little bit. Oh, I think this can be a little bit better. Of course, playtesting is for refining those things, so I need to stop soon. But hopefully, I guarantee that I will have playtest documents out this week. So if you're looking forward to that, keep an eye out. They are coming very, very soon. All right, what else is going on? Not too much in SigTrent Games. Now, I am doing some art orders for Evil Genius Games for the Armory. So they're cranking away on the art for that. And I had sort of started working on the art orders, and so it made sense for me to sort of finish that work up. So I was doing that for them and for all the fans of the Armory, because I just want that to be a big success. So it's kind of fun coming up with ideas for new cool future weapons and stuff. Like the ideas for the weapons are already done, but like what do they look like and how does the form follow the function? That kind of stuff fascinates me. Although when you're doing future weapons, you can't put all the details in there. Like to describe every little detail about a weapon is very complex, hard to do. So I'm letting artists kind of use their own imagination, but I talk about what materials it's made of, how it's shaped, I tell them a little bit how it works so that if they have any understanding of the mechanics of something, they can look at that and stuff that they can look up to kind of get a better vibe for what a weapon like this might look like. They're near future weapons, so they're similar to modern day weapons, but kind of different. Like a lot of the guns don't have cases, and so they don't need an ejection port, right? So that's a common instruction. There's no moving parts, there's no ejection port on this gun. And that makes a big difference in what a gun looks like. All the little fiddly bits and pieces you might see on a gun have to do with those kinds of operations most of the time, which is getting rid of the shells from spent ammunition, and putting the new ammunition to where it can be fired. If you don't have that, because you have like magnetic rails or the like, then a lot of stuff about the appearance of a weapon would change. All right, that's enough about that. That is SigTrent Games for week 25. Let's talk about my game design tip of the week, and I am going to keep this one pretty simple for reasons I will get into later. But today's game design tip is try to enjoy your work. And this isn't really about designing games itself. It's about being a game designer. Although, really, it could apply to any kind of work you're doing, let's be honest. But let's go through some of the things I think you can do to try and enjoy your work, which is going to make you happier and make you more productive, right? So the first is to have fun playing your games. Enjoy the work that you have made, right? So if you make a board game or a card game, play the card game, play the board game, and have fun doing it. Like if you're not having fun in doing it, you probably did do something correctly in the design of the game, I think. For role-playing games, it's even easier to have fun playing your game because you're going to get other people's creative influence. If you get another game master to run a game for you, or if you're running the game and you're having players play in the game, their creativity is going to kind of delight you and they're interacting with the work that you've done. And it's super fun. I've had a great time playing Everyday Heroes. I always do whenever I get to play it. Had a great time so far playtesting Shotgun Fantasy. So that validates the design. You're getting work done, and you're also just getting a lot of joy out of it. And it always motivates me to go back and do more work when I get to do that. So I think that's really important. Next is to talk to others who like your work. It's one of the reasons I go out and interact with fans is because I want to be accessible and I want to listen to them so that I can do better game design to serve the fans. But another reason is when people say they like my game, it motivates me and it makes me feel good. And it helps me enjoy my work. So talking to fans directly, getting that kind of interaction from people, to me, is really good. And it's worth the occasional time when someone criticizes my work or says they don't like it very much. it's pretty easy to accept when I know a lot of people do like it, and knowing that I can't please everybody. So so that for me is a great one. Maybe that's not the best tip for everybody, but for me it's really important. Accept compliments kind of comes with that. So I've seen some game designers and they get really awkward if somebody says, I love your game, you did such a great job. They don't know what to say, maybe because you want to be humble or for whatever reason, but just say thanks. Say thanks. I'm so glad that you liked it. That's all you need to do. That's not, being ego driven or a jerk or anything like that. They want to say something nice to you, so accept that and feel good about it. Right? That's my advice. Reward yourself for your accomplishments. So it's good to take breaks if you have a goal. Like I like to, I'm going to finish this work this week, and then I'm going to reward myself by playing this game or having a nice, tasty treat. I like food a lot, whatever it happens to be. Reward yourself for your accomplishments. Don't reward yourself when you failed to make your accomplishments. That's counterproductive. But when you do a good job and you get done the things that you wanted to do, reward yourself. Now, if you never get done the things that you want to do, either you need to do a lot more work, that might be the case, or you need to set a little bit more reasonable goals for yourself so that sometimes you can make them. I like to set goals that I make about 50% of the time. So about half of the time, I'm doing great and I hit my mark. About half the time I fall a little bit short. Sometimes I fall a bit short, but I go, well, that's okay. I tried hard. I got a lot done. This was a good example this week. Sometimes I go, oh, that was terrible. I didn't get anything done. Something went horribly wrong. And you analyze and you try to fix that and do better next time, right? So reward yourself. Final one I've got here on trying to enjoy your work is fix the flaws that you find. I don't know that everybody likes to do this, but I keep manuscripts of all the work that I've done. And if somebody finds a spelling error or I find a little error in the rules or something like that, maybe I can't republish the document for whatever reason. It's cost prohibitive, but I can fix it in my own copy. I can make what I have better and learn from that. And then if I ever do get the chance to republish something or do a second edition, you've got one that fixes any flaws that you might have been a little embarrassed about or things that you didn't want to have represent you anymore. So it just makes me feel good to go, oh yeah, like, yes, it had a little flaw and I've made it better. I fixed it. And that feels good to me because you are going to find flaws in your work. That's just the way life is, right? So some things to keep in mind and to remember when you're trying to enjoy your work. You'll always have the chance to improve yourself. You may have the chance to improve your work or not, but you always have the chance to improve yourself and do better. So if something maybe isn't up to your standards, you go, oh, I wish I'd done that a little bit better. We'll just do a little better next time. And then you've moved up the ladder a little bit. A lot of these will sound very similar. Each step forward is a step towards victory for yourself, right? So whenever you get a little bit better at doing something, then you are moving in the right direction, and that's something to celebrate. Don't think that you have to get to the end goal. I have to make the best game that's ever been written. I have to, be the richest, most successful game designer in the entire world. Sure, that's kind of a nice goal, but celebrate each step that you take towards whatever your goal is, or each step that you think is in a good direction. I don't have those kinds of lofty goals. I don't like those kinds of lofty goals myself, but I like to always be improving and to really feel the success for each thing I do that's a little better than the last thing. We start with nothing. So every creation is worthy. It's just sort of a philosophical idea. Look, we're all born being ignorant. We are all born not having created anything. And then through our lives, we have many opportunities to be creative, to do something neat, to add something to the world that we can share with other people. So every time you do that, whether it was your best creation or not, so, you can't always do your best work, right? Like just by definition, if you do a better work, then all your other work isn't the best anymore. And, sometimes you hit a peak real early or something, I made this one thing and I've never quite been able to get back there again. But that's okay, because every creation that you make, every step that you take is still a net positive, right? For the world, for you, always around. That's just how life is. Finally, take time to just relax, to chill, to be in the moment, to not be driving yourself. I mean, it is good to have drive, but you don't want that consuming every waking moment. I know some people like that. And you can get caught up, and it can actually keep you from being productive when you're always driving yourself and you never take that time to pause and reflect and rest. So do that. Have a cycle, be really productive, come down after that, chill off a little bit. Whenever you just naturally feel like I am never interrupt that like high when you're just being super productive. Like keep that going as long as you can. But when you come down off of it, take a little bit of rest and then try to get back up on top of the mountain, as it were, and go forward. So enjoy your work, and you'll be a happy camper, and you'll do more stuff. Because if you don't, then you'll burn out, and we will be deprived of your great creativity. We don't want that. Okay, so what have I been playing this week? I've been playing Dungeons and Dragons online primarily because they've got these new 64-bit servers, and I had to move all my characters, and they also gave us more bank space, and they gave me 10 more character slots. And for me, being able to make more permanent characters in an MMO style game is like, it's very addictive because I always have new ideas for characters, but I don't want to get rid of my old characters. So more character slots is great. It's one of the things I kind of buy with my VIP points or whatever from time to time. And they give me 10 of them, which is actually more than I need. I don't know what to put in all those slots. I already got like 40 some characters, but they got a new expansion, and I got a little birthday money. And when I get a little birthday money, I always try to spend it on something sort of frivolous I don't know, that's the kind of thing you give people for their birthday. So if I just get cash, I do some of that when I can. So I went ahead and got the lowest tier of the new expansion, still trying to be modest right now because, funds are tight, but, and that gave me new Dhampir characters, which are like half vampires. So your vampire could bite people, but you can kind of either stay on the light side and get extra healing, or you can go on the dark side and be healed by shadow magic. So I made one of each of those kind of characters. They're just kind of lowish level. Of the two, the one on the light side starting out a little bit better. The one on the dark side is very strange. I had to be a paladin. I wanted to be able to channel evil energies in my weapon, and there's a priest class that does that. But they only get to do it with their favorite weapon, but none of the gods had a favorite weapon that was like a big, heavy damage greatsword weapon. But if you make yourself a paladin, then you can make that your holy weapon, just no matter what your faith is. So I had to make a paladin. To be a paladin in this version of D&D, I had to be lawful good. So I have to be a lawful good paladin so I can channel evil into my giant weapon and be an undead vampire, which makes almost no sense whatsoever. But that's great. So it also, because I was getting it from paladin, I could kind of free to pick any worship, and I really just mechanically wanted to pick the one that gave me the best weapon abilities and skills, which ended up being like a neutral forge god. So I don't know, very strange, very odd character if you try to think about it from a role-playing stance, but mechanically it's pretty good. My first attempt to build it was a complete failure because I didn't read the rulebook, as it were. And so I had to come back, and I was like, oh, everything requires me to have a divine weapon. So I'm going to have to figure that out. So anyway, I have fun building characters. That was a great time for me. So that's what I've been playing. Anne has been continuing to go on her Twitch channel. She got a new computer to stream with, so now she can go back to playing any game she wants, and she doesn't need to just play potato games. She did finish the Room series. She finished Siberia 3, which she described to me last night, and I'm like, this plot is very odd. People are going around with little houses on ostriches in abandoned subway tunnels. I'm probably saying it slightly wrong, but I'm just like, how do you put a house on an ostrich? It was a giant ostrich. How does a giant ostrich fit into a subway tunnel? I don't get it. But, the whole Siberia series is kind of surrealist, magical realism stuff anyway. So these are not questions you should naturally ask yourself while playing such a game. But as a writer, game designer, I can't help but ask these questions. So there you go. Coming this week, she's going to be playing Siberia: The World Before, which is a pretty cool game from what I hear, but I've never played it. And a game called, if I'm pronouncing it right, Quern or Quern, it's Quern, The Undying Thoughts, or just Undying Thoughts, I'm not sure. Anyway, apparently kind of a Myst clone. And that's the kind of game that she likes streaming, so she's going to tackle those games. If you want to join her, you can see the link in the channel down below. But it's Nomad Ann streaming on Twitch, and give that a watch. All right, life in general, what's going on? Well, the big news, I guess, this week, it's not really news, but it is my 54th birthday this week, so I'm 54 years old. So I guess happy birthday to me. Also happens this week is my brother-in-law Alex's birthday. So happy birthday to you, Alex. I hope you have an awesome one. I saw Superman last week. It was really good fun. I'm going to see Fantastic Four this week. I'm not the world's biggest comic book fan, although in Facebook this week, my mom reminded me when I was a very little boy, I loved The Flash and I read comic books, but I have like no memory of this. So this is like, prior to 6 years old kind of stuff. And I have very few memories of that part of my childhood. So apparently I was a comic book fan at one point, But as an adult or even as a teenager, I wasn't really into comic books. But I like comic book movies. I like comic book stories. I just never read that medium regularly. And to me, the quality is often too inconsistent. So I never really stuck with it. Anyway, Superman was fun. I hope Fantastic Four was fun because I really liked the cartoon when I was a kid. It was one of the only cartoons in the early 80s, late 70s that I really enjoyed and was a fan of. So I hope they do justice. I have not seen any of the prior Fantastic Four films because they didn't look very Fantastic Fourish to me. They weren't my vision of it. This one has that potential, so I'm very interested. Last up, I had to work extra hours in the gift shop. As usual, that's just the way it is of the summer. But this was a good week because we were a little heavy staffed and a little less traffic. So we're able to clean up the store and get everything tidy. I'm just kind of I'm not like an order freak. I'm neutral good. So I do not like too much chaos. And I kind of chafe at too much order. I like it kind of in between where it's a little loose, but everything is pretty much where you expect it to be. And you're not getting surprises all the time. But when you do get kind of an unusual outside of the box surprise, you can adapt to it. That's my style. So we got to shop in the mode that I like. So it was kind of a nice week, more relaxing week at work. Less distracting, which let me get more done at home, which was great, even though I had some extra hours. So that's life this week. I'm going to enjoy my birthday and have a good time. I'll tell you all about that next week. I hope you guys have a great time. If it's anybody else's birthday out there anytime soon, happy birthday to you. Always beats the alternative. All right, buddies. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.